Lauf is sort of a grown-up bike company in that you've kind of
Teenager.
yeah, a teenager, right? You've sort of figured out who you think you want to be. But as an Icelandic company based in Iceland, operating out of Iceland, and clearly targeting the U.S. market now that your focus really is gravel. It was, I think, becoming more and more difficult for you guys to have the impact you wanted here without having a base of operations here. And so you made the decision to set up a U.S. headquarters.
Yeah. So I mean, that had been like a long time coming, sort of. So we had known for a while that we had to have something like physical here. Didn't know exactly like what or exactly where, but we knew. I mean, we had to be like closer to the customers for sure. So yeah, around the time when we were like working on Sigla, then at the same time we were like trying to find ways to set up like a warehouse at least. Right. At that point, we didn't have like any ideas for like a factory. I mean, now we're sitting in
phase 2,
in the phase 2 of our factory here, like in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Yeah, I mean the plan was just to do a warehouse, and like assembly of our bikes was done. We had an excellent assembler, super good, in Taiwan. So we were shipping bikes assembled to the US. So first, like always directly to the customer.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how was it handled before? Because it was sort of like, because you'd already gone to a direct consumer model. So somebody clicks and orders a bike, and it would literally ship, like it would come to my house from Taiwan.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's like cost effective. It seems like shipping a bike I know what it costs to ship a bike in the US, and it's expensive, let alone halfway around the world.
So it was good in some ways. It was like really like smooth in terms of like the assembly and like the assembly part, because like most of the vendors, like the wheels and drivetrains, that's made in Taiwan. So that was efficient on that side, sort of, to get the bikes together and get them out the door.
And because there are like, you have like factories that make the frames. There's also entire companies in both Taiwan and China that their entire job is bicycle assembly. So all the parts come in, and then they can just pick and choose. So it was like built to order?
So we never worked with like the big ones, because they make like big lines. So they have like product like an order for like 1,000 red bikes in medium with it. So like that kind of stuff. But like our was like on demand, sort of just in time. So some buffer of like shelf bikes, but mostly just like done on demand.
So if I had ordered a bike with whatever spec I wanted and stuff, and click buy, how long would it take for me to get that bike coming from Asia?
That was like a week or so to assemble, and then it like went with like DHL or something, or FedEx or whatever we were working with at the time, to your door. And that's like, I don't know, let's say additional like 2 to 8 days. Like, I mean, best case scenario, like super fast, like like 2 days to your door. But then sometimes it like did some extra loops, unexpected loops on the way over.
Still 2 days. Like, I mean, I can't imagine. Like, what was your average delivery cost per bike?
So it was high. It was very high, and then like, but then it became astronomically high. It became like ridiculously high during COVID. It was just like outrageously high. And then we were like
losing money high, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was like, but I mean, we had to like, that was tough, because I mean, we had to keep like getting bikes out, because I mean, we had to like keep the brand going, sort of.
Yeah, you can't just say, sorry, it's going to cost me too much to ship your bike, sir. I can't.
So we had to think of the long game, sort of. We had to think of, see the light at the end of the tunnel. So even though that like hurts, we had to like keep going. So, but at the same time, we just like, we sort of like realized, okay, this is not like sustainable. I mean, even though shipping is going to go down again, then it's going to come up again, like when something happens, like later, in the future, whatever. So we realized we had to set up like a logistics center in the US to get bikes more efficiently to people. But then like the first thought was to bring in like the bikes assembled to that hub, and then like distribute. But then sort of as we like got into that and like started, like, we had like started doing that basically, when we just realized like that, hey, okay, it's kind of hard to predict like the extra large pink ultimate bike. It's kind of hard to predict when that's going to be bought. I mean, like the outlier bikes, we're like, okay, hey, should we build like the ultimate build level? Should we build that here? Like, yeah, that makes sense. So at least like the outlier sizes and like less common colors, you make them here, and then like the other stuff can like arrive here like into stock, into shelves, like the vanilla bikes, so to speak. But then just like I still remember this was on a bike ride, me and Halle, CFO. So we were like riding like actually I had moved, so I live here now in Harrisonburg, but I was back in Iceland for like a shareholder meeting or something, and I went out on a ride with Halle, and then we like started like talking through this, like how do we do this, how do we like do the assembly of the outlier bikes here and all that, and we were like, hey, what if we just assemble them all? Like at first, like, yeah, shit, that's going to be a whole lot of assembly work. But then like gradually we sort of like realized, hey, okay, in our case, our bikes are, it's different, of course, like again, I said this like in a different context before. It's like, this is not going to be the path forward for everybody. But for us, I think it made sense because our bikes are like, yeah, unique, and they come in different colors and all different sizes, and yeah, we're trying to like move quite a lot of them. So it was really hard to like, yeah, set up the process of bringing in the right amount of the right bike by sea. But you can do this maybe, let's say if you're doing like a commuter bike that is like sold in like the tens of thousands of units or whatever, or something that like
with one spec.
Yeah, Walmart bike. I mean, you're not gonna be assembling that here, probably. I assume. I don't know, but I assume that's assembled overseas somewhere. But in our case, just like the logistics of being able to like do it like just in time, literally just like almost next door to our customer, that just like outweighed all the costs of setting up here. Basically, just like the effectiveness of doing things just in time and not like keeping on stock already built bikes. So yeah, so we decided, this was a little over a year ago. So when we decided, okay, let's just like go all in on this, just like let's build them all. So now we've been like in the process of like moving our assembly operations from like Taiwan to here in Harrisonburg, and now we have like quite a lot of mechanics here like already, like amazing team here. So it's going. It's going like
5 or 6 people now that build bikes,
just building bikes. And it's like it's amazing. So it's always like when you like jump into it, you don't know what to expect, but it's just like it's been going way better than what we ever like dreamed, hoping of, sort of.
Yeah, I remember a few years back when you first started talking about opening the U.S. headquarters, you were asking several of us where, like, hey, where would you recommend? You know, I think we all had our opinions on where it would make sense.
Yeah.
You settled in Harrisonburg, Virginia, but how did you end up here? Like, where did you guys look at? And,
I mean, I remember you made a case for like this area. I mean, you're from.
I was pushing my hometown, but
exactly.
We're close. I'm only a few hours away.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we decided on so many places before like finally like committing to Harrisonburg. So basically, we soon realized that, I mean, at first we were thinking of some places that didn't even have like a direct flight to Iceland. Then we like went there to check out setting up there. Like maybe it was like some place down somewhere that like offered a grant to set up like a factory in their hometown or whatever. Right. And then we just like flying in, we were just like, no, we can't do that. Like layover somewhere, and then it's just like it's never going to be efficient. So we decided, okay, we have to have a direct flight from Iceland. Because it's an Icelandic company, like big part of the team will always remain there. So we need to be able to like efficiently work together. So that like excluded obviously most of the US. But then at that time there were still some direct flights to LA, so West Coast was sort of like still possible. But just like then we just realized it's just too far away. Like time zones, it's just, you have like in the winter time, I think you have 9 time zones from Reykjavik to LA. So that just doesn't work out. So you cannot fully like cooperate with the team in Iceland.
Yeah, you'd be flip-flopped completely on work hours.
Yeah, so you need to have like some overlap, I think.
Right, and that kind of thing, I guess, outweighs like shipping conveniences, right? Because LA and California, West Coast, those shipping hubs that are coming straight from Asia, whereas to get your stuff here on the East Coast takes a little bit more time.
And that's why most bike companies, like almost all bike companies, are there. Like around LA and that area, because like just like shipping from Asia is like, I don't know, 19 days compared to like 5-6 weeks or something to go here to the East Coast. It's like it's a huge difference.
Probably a lot. That's probably also, you know, but California is very expensive, so I think that's why a lot of people move to Ogden, Utah, because you got a ton of bike industry there, and it's just like a little hop, skip, and a jump from California.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can still like benefit from like the direct logistics to LA and all that, but still cheaper. Yeah. Right. But so for us, like I think like we kept deciding on places that were like slightly further east. So we like looking into Denver for a little while. Obviously, like riding there is great. Colorado riding obviously is amazing. So but then like it's too far away as well, and like to us like to do like direct to consumer, Denver is such an island sort of. It's like it's so far away from other cities, sort of. So then eventually we're like, okay, hey, let's do Chicago. That's super like central in the US, and you have lots of direct flights from Iceland. They're super convenient, and one time zone further east, I believe, than Denver. So like, okay, let's do that. We had like pretty much decided on that. But then like, the runner-up was always Washington DC, or like the suburbs of DC. So it wasn't until like in the 11th hour basically when like a guy that worked for us at the time was like, hey, what about like this town here, like close to DC,
tiny little town called Harrisonburg.
Yeah. So and we're like, yeah, okay, maybe it's too small. Let's do Charlottesville instead. So that's like it's the bigger brother sort of Harrisonburg. So a similar distance to DC, but like a far bigger city. So we're like, yeah, let's do Charlottesville. So we like, okay, let's do that. Then we get like we get great riding, and like the reason like we were focusing on then DC versus like Chicago rather than any of the other East Coast cities is that the DC area is the westmost and southmost of the East Coast cities, which means that for logistics, it's gonna make more sense. Like Boston would never make sense. It's like way out on a peninsula, so like all shipping needs to go like so far into the US. So this is as central as you can get while still having like minimum amount of like time zones away from Iceland and like lots of direct flights. So yeah, we kind of like decided on Charlottesville. We were looking for like housing there and all that. But then like, yeah, we got this meeting with like the city here, the city of Harrisonburg, like the economic like development something. And they were like, guys, you should come to Harrisonburg. Harrisonburg, that's bikes and beer. Where Charlottesville, that's wine and cheese. You want to be here? And we were like, okay,
it's a pretty good sales pitch.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Sold.
Yeah. So and they like give us like some like small incentives and stuff. So which like to us felt like comforting to know that we had like them on our team sort of to like help us through it.
Yeah. And so when you showed up here, I only heard a little bit of the story, so I want to hear the whole story. Yeah. You went to a city council or county council meeting to just kind of
that was good stuff. Yeah, so this was actually like this was right after the launch of Sigla. We had just done the launch of Sigla, and then like me and my wife Heidi, as she calls herself here, but Ragnheiður is her name.
Yep, I can't pronounce it. I tried.
Nobody can. So it's Heidi. So yeah, we decided to come here just to like look at like places to live and all that, and meet and greet people and all that, and then this was like a couple of weeks after the launch event for Sigla that we did with journalists back in Iceland. And during this visit, we had this we went into a city council meeting. Like I don't know if you've been to those meetings. It's like open meetings, like lots of people in the room and all that. And to us, I mean, we're Icelandic. We don't know like the culture here. To us, we just like kept thinking about like the Parks and Recreation,
the TV show.
Yeah, the TV show. Yeah, so that. So I mean, maybe not like a kind comparison, but yeah, but yeah, we kept thinking of that. But yeah, so we met the people here, super nice, and went in there, and then I was like brought up, and I did like a small talk on why Lauf chose Harrisonburg and all that, and what we're doing here, and then like the funny thing in retrospect, funny I think because it all worked out but at the time like the left part of my face was like paralyzed, so I got like a virus after I don't know from the stress of the launch of the Sigla, I don't know. So, but I got like a virus, Ramsay Hunt, it's called. I call it the Bieber syndrome. Justin Bieber got it.
Oh.
And yeah, so I often like mention that I didn't cancel any concerts because of mine. So
But now you have that bond. You and the beans.
my buddy Bieber. So I was there like in that like city council meeting up on stage, like wearing like sunglasses because like so it would be slightly less obvious how I didn't like blink properly on one eye. So looking all like badass, like with sunglasses inside the room there, and like I talked a little bit like Sylvester Stallone, you know, it was like my mouth opened only on one side. So like that, I was like presenting Lauf's future in America. I don't know how it like came across to people,
Sure.
but yeah, it's good times in retrospect. So it was pretty.
It
funny.
all worked out.
It all worked out. But bad thing, I couldn't eat any hamburgers on that trip because I couldn't like, and imagine being in America and not being able to eat hamburgers. So I couldn't open my mouth enough. So pizza, like I just managed to eat pizza, but hamburgers I couldn't open enough. But yeah, so we presented Lauf's like vision for Harrisonburg back then, like obviously like not knowing really what it would all turn out to become. And now, like a year and a half later, I mean, we're like there and then some. I think like we've like come way further than all our plans at that time were.
Yeah, you started out in a decent sized space, and you're already
already like expanding.
Got dibs on expanding into a much bigger adjoining space.
Yeah, so it's super exciting. I mean, at times, like I'm like walking around here and like look up at the building. I'm like, fuck, what have I like got myself into? It's like it's overwhelming.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. But I mean, it's the only way is like forwards. It's just like just keep it on.
Yeah. Well, you've kind of gone all in and everything else, so why not?
Yeah.
All in on a U.S. headquarters and
U.S. assembly. And it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's all about making stuff. That's like the fun parts, like of all this, make stuff. And it's fun to have more of the manufacturing like in-house.
Yeah, you can be hands-on and, you know, you kind of have a little bit more of a connection with every bike that you sell.
Yeah, it's like
makes it more personal for
and
people.
It's like, and it's like so many like soft reasons to do it. I mean, of course you can do it like remotely somewhere, but like there's so much you miss out on, like not being around the product, like all the opportunities to like check things out and like improve things and like learn things. So it's just like, it's very nice to have it like on site.